Not too long ago, Donald Trump encouraged his supporters to liberate Michigan. Well, today we're learning of an FBI investigation and the fact that they foiled a right-wing terrorist plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan in order to essentially go against her lockdown measures during the pandemic. Now, there have been more than a dozen people who have been arrested. Some are only facing state charges. However, 6 of the individuals are facing state and federal charges. And in the next video, you'll get more detail into how this FBI investigation was conducted and what these individuals are accused of. Take a look.
Last night, the FBI and Michigan State Police arrested 6 individuals charged in a federal complaint with conspiring to kidnap the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. According to the complaint, unsealed this morning, Adam Fox, Barry Croft, Ty Garbin, Caleb Franks, Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta conspired to kidnap the governor from her vacation home in the Western District of Michigan before the November election. Under federal law, each of these individuals faces a term of any number of years up to life in prison if convicted. Fox, Garbin, Franks, Harris, and Caserta are residents of Michigan. Croft is a resident of Delaware. All of us standing here today want the public to know that federal and state law enforcement are committed to working together to make sure violent extremists never succeed with their plans.
And to be clear, the FBI has warned in numerous reports that the real threat here to domestic security is right-wing terrorism. And that right-wing terrorism is oftentimes plotted and unfortunately, once in a while actually carried out by right-wing gang members in this country. So the federal government has filed an affidavit. The FBI has filed an affidavit against the 6 individuals who were mentioned in that press conference. Several members talked about murdering tyrants or taking a sitting governor. The group decided they needed to increase their numbers and encouraged each other to talk to their neighbors and spread their message. And I want to be clear that they had very specific plans in place to kidnap the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. The conspirators conducted surveillance on Whitmer's vacation home during the day on August 29th and at night over the weekend of September 12th through the 13th. During the surveillance operation, the right-wing extremists, Adam Fox in particular, said the following: "We ain't going to let them burn our effing state down. I don't give an F. If there's only 20 or 30 of us, dude, we'll go out there and use deadly force." Also in an encrypted group chat, Garbin later suggested that demolishing a nearby bridge would hamper a response by police to the governor's home. The September surveillance followed a field exercise at Garbin's property in Luther, Michigan, where the conspirators allegedly detonated an improvised explosive device made from a commercial firework wrapped in shrapnel to test its anti-personnel effectiveness. So they actually took some measures and were certainly planning in a very detailed way to carry out these acts of terror.
Okay, let me translate anti-personnel measures when you're testing a bomb. That means how well does it kill people? So it doesn't get any more extreme than this. Kidnap, murder, bombings, arson. They were planning all of it. It's very clear in the messages that they were sharing. There was an FBI informant that got it on tape, that got all their plans, and that's how they got arrested. First of all, now I don't know how many times in a row, I want to give credit to the FBI. They have foiled so many of these plots. And by the way, they are very clear. They explain, look, we are looking at every single possibility from all ends of the political spectrum, and the overwhelming threat is the right-wing militias. There's almost no Antifa plots that they mention in any of their documentation. They're looking And there is no such thing. So, there is this overwhelming drive, not just by Republicans, but by the media oftentimes, although less so today, to call everything even, not even. This is an insane right-wing militia. A Republican member of the Michigan legislature today had to come out and clarify, look, this is not really what patriots do. Could you imagine if there was going to be a group of Muslims that were going to kidnap and murder a governor of one of the US states, and Democrats bothered to clarify this is not what patriots do? Yeah, of course it's not what patriots do. But in the right wing, they think maybe that's what patriots do. Maybe they go around killing governors. And remember, Trump, in the midst of all the madness against Whitmer in Michigan, wrote a tweet saying liberate Michigan. And of course, during the debate, he said stand back and stand by when asked about white supremacist militia groups. This is what stand by looks like. And Donald Trump has brought us to the brink of absolute anarchy in this country. And it's absolutely grotesque what's happened. And I'll give one more piece of credit, and it's to the media. When we were discussing this in our production meeting this morning, I thought it would have the same reaction that things like this always do. If Antifa or Muslims or black people were gonna do it, oh my God, oh no, look, and they were gonna murder the governor of Florida, Rick DeSantis, poor Republican. That would be all that anybody talked about. I said, but whenever there's a right-wing militia who's going to murder people, it's barely any news. So this time around, though, it was big news, and everybody did cover it. And I was a little surprised, like, I guess kidnapping and murdering a governor does rise to the level of national news, even if the right wing does it.
You just highlighted the difference between this case and what we've seen in so many other cases. If we're talking about Black Lives Matter demonstrators getting gunned down in cold blood, yeah, it'll get a little bit of attention in the media. But if you're talking about gang members of any ideology, including right-wing gang members in this country, threatening someone in a position of power, yeah, that's going to grab a lot more attention. And I'm glad it is, because again, I mean, we've repeated ourselves so many times. The biggest terror threat in this country comes from radical right-wing extremists. I don't know why the president doesn't say them by their name or call them by their name. That's what we have in this country. We have radical right-wing extremists, and they're carrying out acts of violence. Sometimes, unfortunately, they're able to do what they want to do without the FBI foiling their plots. But you're right, Cenk. There have been so many of these serious, threats, and luckily the FBI caught these individuals in time before they can carry out any more acts of violence. But I do want to go to Donald Trump's campaign aide, Jason Miller, because you mentioned the weak response from Republicans. Well, what can you expect from the Trump administration or the Trump campaign? You're going to get people who try to justify this type of behavior. Watch.
These are some pretty shameful comments here from Governor Whitmer. I mean, how we could because how you can go from a moment of unity to attacking President Trump, I thought was just completely ridiculous. I mean, if we want to talk about hatred, then Governor Whitmer, go look in the mirror. I mean, the fact that she wakes up every day with such hatred in her heart towards President Trump. I mean, President Trump is the one out there condemning these radical groups, whether they be on the right or whether they be on the left. We saw it 2 weeks ago when he was in Atlanta introducing his Platinum Plan, his contract with Black America, where he labeled the KKK and Antifa both terrorist groups. We saw him do.
That's a senior advisor to the Trump campaign. After the FBI says we just foiled a terrorist plot to murder the governor of Michigan, he turns around and blames her. He says she has hatred in her heart. And he says, this is a moment of unity. Wait, how is it a moment of unity? Donald Trump told the militia to go liberate Michigan. Then he told them to stand by in a debate. He encouraged people to take violent, extreme actions. He said, if you take violent action against protesters at my rallies, I'll pay for the lawsuits. And I would go through dozens of examples where he asked for violence. He once said during the 2016 campaign about how there's political things we could do against Hillary Clinton, but there's also Second Amendment things we could do against Hillary Clinton. So this guy who was called for violent action against his opponents, now we're supposed to have unity with Donald Trump after the people listened to him and almost killed the governor? No, that's not a moment of unity. That's a moment of, you guys are horrible, horrible human beings. And after she barely escapes getting kidnapped by this insane plot, thanks to the good work of the FBI, Trump sends out his henchman, his goon, Jason Miller, to come out and say, I blame her, hatred in her heart. By the way, it could also be interpreted as, hey guys, nice try this time. Somebody else, you guys wanna step in? Because Trump still thinks she's the bad guy. I can't believe they're doing that on TV, but they are. And if you don't think they're monsters, you're not getting it. They are. That's exactly how brown shirts seize power. And if Trump was this election, it's good night, Irene. They're gonna run rampant, and the vigilante violence is going to be absolutely through the roof.
Yeah, one of them, Caleb Franks, was quoted as saying, kidnapping, arson, death, I don't care, when talking about Governor Gretchen Whitmer. These people are a huge threat to our national security. They're a huge threat to protesters. They're a huge threat to our democracy. And anyone who minimized the impact of a Donald Trump presidency and continues to do so really needs to wake up. And I'm being very tame in sharing this message because I would use other words to basically communicate this. We're in a lot of trouble, and I'm really concerned about what's going to happen both during the election and after the election. But anyway,
I'll tell you, Anna. Look, if they had just uncovered a plot by Antifa or Black Lives Matter to kidnap and murder Governor Abbott of Texas and blow up bridges and kill other people and use bombs and burn down buildings, and the Biden team sent out someone to say Governor Abbott has hatred in his heart, what do you think would have happened? The world would have stopped. And oh my God, Biden's America, can you believe it? It said no, but Trump, we're all used to, Trump said earlier today, we're not even covering it on the show, I did a live video about it, that we should arrest Biden a month before the election. We should arrest Obama. We should arrest Hillary Clinton. He just said it today. And everybody's like, oh yeah, of course, the president's a would-be dictator. And if he wins this election, obviously we've lost democracy. Mike Lee said, we'll talk about it later in the show. Senator from Utah, Republican senator, saying this is not a democracy. They just don't believe in democracy. And if we don't win this time around, it's over. And that's just the reality. And by the way, we are gonna win, as I explained earlier, a couple of days ago, but after we do, people will forget. They'll think like, oh, it was hyperbole, that democracy wasn't really on the line. No, it is, and they'll forget the lessons because these guys were so close to ending our democracy. If Trump only loses by 3 points, they'll definitely cheat and end it anyway. But my guess is he's gonna lose by a lot more than that. I can't believe America is this close to having the fascist win after all these years.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.